You know, we were saying, the big name Terran players, Maru, Beyond Cure, they're kind of cannibalizing each other a little bit. We was about to say that Cure is the only one remaining, but Kelazar, he is doing it for the Terran players tonight.
Hey, Diego is popping off. Fala
Let's see if I can find my cheerful.
It's honestly really cool to see Kelazar doing so well in this tournament. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourself. The bracket is big, it's massive, a lot of results have been coming in. We have been focusing on the southern portion of the bracket, and we have ourselves another ZvT.
Indeed, we do a very different one. As we load into Gressvan, we're in the top left-hand quarter map, spawning all the way. In the top left-hand quarter, we have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea, representing On-Side Gaming, OSG. We have Sola.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressvan, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran representing Team Abydos. It is Cure.
Oh my, and I know Solar, has been waiting for quite some time. Maybe he was able to catch a little bit of Dark versus Cure earlier on, whether it's live or even looking at a VOD.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, a couple of things that I want to say about our two Zerg players. Dark and Solar, I think you would agree, are very different players, especially in ZvT. They have different outlooks on life, different outlooks on the game, different kind of strengths and weaknesses. And I'm just now remembering that Dark, he was missing out on kind of his signature unit as well. We did see him play Ling Bane into Ultra, which is something that he's known for, to be fair. But he's also kind of known for his Roach play and his Roach aggression, and that is something that was suspiciously lacking and missing in that series against Cure.
Yeah, in most scenarios, I would say, well, do you really want to go Roaches up against a player who's known for their tank positioning and whatnot? Do you really want to do that? But it is Dark we're talking about, and it's not like Roach play is only for cheesy strategies. It's not like the only place for Roaches in the matchup is to go for Roach rushes. You can absolutely use Roaches to get your map control early on and tech up, or even just max out on Roach Ravager as quickly as possible, and then contain your opponent till they starve out. But yeah, Dark, for whatever reason, focused mostly on Ling Bane. There was one game where it looked like he tried to get into Lurkers, but it didn't really work out too well for him. But even then, it was a very, very late transition.
Yeah, it was game one where he went Ling Bane Hydra, if you recall, for quite some time. But the reason why I bring that up is because that's kind of more what Solar's known for. Solar's a lot more comfortable with the more standard meta style of ZvT, of Ling Bane Hydra, into late game, into lurker play, if you will. So maybe Solar will have a little bit more success here, maybe.
So what you're saying is we're going to see Solar Roach push 3 games in a row.
What I'm saying is that, yes, Dark and Solar, they swapped accounts, they swapped challenge accounts as well. They
No, they didn't swap accounts, they just swapped mines.
There you go.
Solar woke up in the trophy. Dark woke up in Solar's trophy room next to Solar's wife.
Yeah, I need you to stop right there. Okay? Yeah, I need you to calm down. Oh my god.
I keep forgetting, but Dark is also married now.
Dark, they're both married.
Dark is also married now. I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting because
they both have wives.
Yeah, I keep forgetting because he didn't post his marriage signature on Twitter.
I'm shaking my head. Yaku, Oh god, as we are finding ourselves into this game, into Gressvan, and for the time being we had a third CC before Starport opener into Banshee play, so very economic stuff from Cure, likewise very Cure-esque as he immediately does take his third on location.
Indeed, didn't have to wait too long for that, and yeah, I'm liking this from Cure. He knows that he has some map control, and he knows that Solar isn't playing too aggressive. He scouted with his Reapers, he saw not too many lings and whatnot. He saw not too much tech either, so yeah, he knows that he can just get that third CC on location as quickly as possible. He doesn't need to wall up too much.
Yeah, exactly. Solar is being relatively passive overall, just going to be droning up his third base. He went into his lair. As the lair is on the way, we have a good timing for the Baneling Nest as well. This was something that Dark was missing in Game 3 against Cure, and Solar is not going to be making that mistake as, yeah, everything is looking relatively normal and safe out of our Zerg player.
Indeed. So, like you were saying, standard play is what Solar is much more known for compared to Dark, and is kind of his forte. So we'll see if he's able to translate that into success here against the absolute favorite of tonight's tournament.
Oh yeah, we'll see if he can pull that off. We do see a couple of Banshees dipping in towards that natural base. Queens not quite in position. There we go. They do re-rally towards the natural, and they'll be able to shoot this away, but 4 drones do go down.
Yeah, not too bad. The Banshees are still alive as well, so they can pressure this wharf base quite a bit too.
They're just going to be poking and prodding wherever they can, and over time they'll be able to gain value. They've already gotten 4 drones, and I'm sure they're going to be looking to get a couple more later on, maybe even be utilized to clear up some of this creep and join up with those Hellions, as the Hellions are looking to just poke at the front door here, but Solar is in position with his queens.
Yeah, he doesn't have too many queens, but he's making sure that he positions them where they need to be positioned. He knows that on a map like Gresvan, there are really only a few paths of entry for Hellions. And so it's just making sure he blocks those as best he can.
There we go. He does shoo Cure away. Meanwhile, behind this, Cure is just setting up on 3 bases. He's got his 3 racks set up. Got 1-1. Armory is on the way for 2-2 as well. So just really crisp and clean play coming out from our Terran. And here we go at the 7-minute mark. He's going to be moving out with his 1 tank. Is missing a second one. Okay, there we go. It is being boosted on out with those medevacs.
So getting to the front lines in style. Oh, this poor Queen. So out of position, so isolated, has so much energy, but it can't transfuse itself! Can't escape, though.
The Queen is barely going to be able to escape. Meanwhile, the tanks do siege up pretty far back. A little creep is being cleaned up, but Solar is getting ready for the surround. He has the Ling Bane here on the right-hand side. He's going to go for a counterattack. If he doesn't find too much damage, he will be able to turn around and go for the surround on the main army.
Yeah, but can he surround if these queens go down? If these queens go down first... You're now setting up outside of Solar's base. Solar trying to find a way in, and he just finds one. These SCVs, they're boxed in!
There's nowhere to go. They all get annihilated. 18 SCVs are going to be going down for the cost of all that Ling Bane at the same time. Akira, now the pressure is on him to find even more damage across the map.
I'm pretty sure that Cure was focused mostly on his front lines, but I like to imagine that the reason why we didn't see a reaction there is because he just gave up on those SCVs.
Yeah, it definitely is. Once again, we have Hellbats here to protect these tanks with the Banelings. They rush on forward. 1 tank goes down, but the 2nd tank barely survives.
Wow, I'm surprised at that. I'm very surprised. There are not too many Banelings left, and not too many Lings either, to be honest. Cure, I was going to say, can target down those Banelings, but Solar doesn't want to take that chance. GG is called, and game number 1 was surprisingly quick. I mean, I can't blame Solar from tapping out when he did. I think he knew that it was going to take too long for him to muster up a defense to get those Banelings out. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Solar was able to give as good as he got there.
Yeah, GG, well played. Solar ran into the same issue that Dark did on Ancient Cistern, if you recall. You saw it there where Solar, he committed to an engagement, and then he pulled back because there were Hellbats protecting those tanks, and Solar had to reposition his army and go in for a second time, and yeah, he wasn't able to break the tank. We saw too much momentum from Cure, and Cure, he wasn't all in. He wasn't A-Raxing. He had a 4th CC on the way behind it. He was taking more gases, working on 2-2. But that was just such a crisp and clean timing there from Cure, and yeah, Solar just couldn't hold on.
Yeah, I'm glad that you pointed that out, that Cure wasn't going all in, because getting 18 SCVs is huge. But the 3rd CC was still alive. Cure was getting a 4th CC on the way, and for all we knew, he would have been turning that into an orbital command. It wouldn't have taken Cure that much longer to recover, and while he was recovering, you could always throw out mules. So yeah, Cure was in a position where, despite taking a lot of damage, he definitely had a little bit of a fallback or a safety net under him.
Oh yeah, and his army was just had so much momentum.
Oh yeah.
GG, well played. Cure will take game number 1 in this series, but now we're loading into game number 2. Oh boy, and already Solar, he's up against the ropes.
Yeah, that was, like you said, a very crisp timing. I'm liking what Cure's doing with his Hellions, turning them into Hellbats just to guard the tanks. I might do that from now on. I just stop suiciding my Hellions every game.
It's a very small change, but it makes that 7-minute push with 2 tanks just so deadly, and I mean, it's been working for Cure quite well.
Yeah, very, very well. As we get into game number 2, we're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in that bottom left-hand corner. We have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea, representing On-Side Gaming OSG. We have Sola.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Team Abydos, currently leading this series 1-0. It is Cure.
As the voices in my head that sound suspiciously like Milk and Kerwin and every other Terran player I've practiced with as telling me, you're not supposed to suicide your Hellions anyway. But yeah, that's like I said, a very small change that Cure is doing, and one that is very, very impactful in the TVZ matchup. One that almost nullifies Ling Bane in a way, especially if you are going for these 1-1 timings like Cure is going for. Actually, I'm not sure if he even had 1-1. Maybe it was just +1 timing coming out from him, but yeah, a huge difference to make. It does, I guess it does require a little bit of discipline there. Like, if you're used to F2ing your army, like I am, then it probably isn't going to work out too well, but yeah, just hold position your Hellbats to guard your tanks, and you're pretty much never going to get surrounded by Lings.
Yeah, and I think the really interesting thing about that as well is because Cure is hitting with his 1-1 there, but the armory is done ahead of time to make sure that he can actually morph in those Hellbats and actually have them ready for the push as well. I think that's the thing that's like becoming a little bit more unanticipated by our Zerg players today, is that typically there wouldn't be Hellbats at that timing unless we were going for a Hellbat push. So yeah, it's pretty interesting for Cure to, again, let's just mix things up in this way.
Yeah, I'm hoping this doesn't become meta, so then I can just use this. To get free wins on the ladder. But yeah, this is it's so smart from Cure that I would be very surprised if the other Terran players don't pick up on this.
Yeah, I'm sure the other Abydos Terrans, I'm sure Mario and Bjorn, have clued in. I mean, Bjorn, he has his own style of TVZ, to be fair. I shake my head every time, but
yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, because I've been casting a lot of it with Asher. I don't know if I've casted it with you.
I saw his match against Silky where that wasn't the game where he went Mass Reaper. That was against Firefly, I want to say, but
oh no, yeah.
I do know.
Every ZvT does open 2 racks Reaper. Every ZvT,
Yep.
Shaking my head.
He's like, oh, we're in 2016 again. It's like, no.
I mean, game 1 against Silky was crazy. I don't know if you remember that, but he clowned all over Silky with 3 racks Reaper. It was crazy.
And then in game number 2, Silky decided to fight back.
Yep.
And the ace match too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that did happen. Oh god, as we are getting ready for this, and Cure this time? Okay, go on.
I like to imagine that Bjorn, instead of switching up his play today because he faced Silky in a rematch,
true,
he just 3 racks Reapered again 2 games in a row, and he just did it better.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, to be honest. I'm a little bit jealous that we weren't able to cast Bjorn versus Silky today earlier in the bracket, but regardless, we were able to at least cast Dark and TY as well. Ooh, but Cure is once again going for his opener, going for that 3cc before Starport into Banshees, just like last game.
Yeah. There's really no reason for Cure to switch things up. There's no pressure on him. My eyes are a lot more on Sola this time. If how he's going to be able to fight back against his style and how he's going to be able to neutralize the 1-1 timing coming out from Cure. I'm trying to remember what Dark did in that game number 2 that took us all the way to the ace, and I want to say he didn't really do too much different. It was just that, you know, he was more active on the map and was able to catch, and he kept his units alive longer, so he was able to catch Cure before he sieged up, if I'm remembering right.
Well, Cure was able to siege, and this was on Ancient Sister, and Dark just never pushed in.
Well, I'm talking about Gressfan.
Oh, and Gressfan. Oh, yeah, no, he'd never let it happen. Never let it happen.
Okay.
Yeah, Dark had a lot more map control on Gressvan, and Cure was going for more drop play instead, actually. He was,
right. So he did switch things up quite a bit, and that's why he lost.
Yeah, that's when he went 3CC 2-on-1.
Yeah, but we had the whole discussion about 3CC before Starport. Yeah.
There we go. As we do see Cure this time just rushing in with his Hellions. Lings are in position, but they're all going to get roasted, and he doesn't care. He doesn't give a damn. He goes for the drones.
And there were barely any Lings regardless. The Queens were a little bit too far out. Thankfully, Sola was able to evacuate at least half of his drones into that main base. These Hellions will be dealt with, but yeah, losing 8 drones is still rough.
It really was. 8 drones for 8 Hellions. Honestly, a decent trade here as the Banshees, they dip on in even further and they get even more damage done.
Yeah, 8 drones for 8 Hellions. I would say it's slightly better for the Zerg player, but these Banshees are getting into position and they are getting more drones killed. Sola goes across the map and is able to get quite a bit of counter damage here. 5 SCVs, not too bad.
Yeah, this does. I do agree with you. I do think this is looking a little bit better for Solar in the end, just because of the counter damage, and also because these Banshees didn't get too out of hand either. And now those Hellions are gone. Now the map control from Cure is no longer there.
Yeah, he's going to try to keep creep in check, and he's going to try to keep Solar honest as well with these Banshees, but like you said, he's not going to be able to just clean out creep tumors left and right. He's not going to be able to keep Solar on his 3 bases or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And now Solar's going to have so much freedom this game. He is free to just spread his wings and drone to his heart's content, especially after all those Hellions went down. We have 1-1 on the way. We have Bailing Speed as well. This time, Cure, if he does try to hit a bit of a timing with a 1-1, it won't be anywhere near as potent. And he's not. He's going to be chilling back at home, at least with the majority of his army, moving on with the drop instead.
Yeah, may as well. We're getting a similar game to Dark versus Cure on Gressvan, where Cure, he knows that he can't really go for that very potent 1-1 timing, so instead he's going to slow things down a little bit, go for drop play, and just try to harass Solar to death.
Oh, exactly. We got the double jump head towards the main base. Ling Bane struggling to keep up, but it looks like he shouldn't be losing too much here as
paused.
Get a bit of a pause.
Referee is, getting a little bit of a pause going on here.
Oh, yeah.
It is our clean feed observer, so
yeah,
I'm hoping everything's okay with the stream.
Yeah, hopefully everything is okay. For those wondering what's going on, this event is of course hosted and organized by SC Boy, the cornerstone of the Chinese community, and if something is happening with their stream as well, then I'm sure they're going to be pausing and making sure that everything's okay and everything gets broadcasted.
There are definitely a couple of streams who are reliant on the clean feed here, so so it's definitely very important to rectify any issues that may or may not be happening over there. We are more than glad to accommodate that, and the players are more than happy to accommodate that as well.
For sure, and we can take this moment to breathe as well, because this has been a pretty tense period. It's been a pretty tense series so far, and a lot has been going on as well. We didn't even get to focus on it, but yeah, players have been falling left and right. And do we want to quickly go over the bracket at least? Oh wait, no, we'll save that for later.
Okay.
Game resumed.
That's how we end the pause here.
Yeah.
As we get into, that's a life hack for people, you know? Let's start talking about other stuff. As we get into this series continuing, what a fantastic target firing coming out here from Cure, taking out almost every single Baneling there for Solar. If not for that one Spore Crawler, I really think Cure would have been able to keep this going and maybe even jump into the mirror line. That was some sexy micro.
Oh, that was slick, Boppy, as the double jump is coming back in. We do have Lingbane waiting here at the third base location, but at the same time, we've got the Banshees going in on the right-hand side. We have another double jump pushing through the center of the map. The tri-pronged aggression is real from Cure, and we'll see if he can force a cancel on this fifth.
Jumps right on top of this fifth base. 1-1 did just about finish up. That was a cancel in the end. Cure, Solar, sorry, it does get a little bit of a refund. Another fantastic target firing on top of one of those Banelings coming out from Cure. That's the other thing that really, if we're watching this Cure's games from this tournament and comparing it to even just last week, Cure's micro and control has been out of this world.
Yeah,
it's improved so much.
It really has been. It's been so noticeable as well in all of his games, and we'll see if it's going to be enough here, because Solar, he's been able to keep up for the most part with these drops, and he's taking up. We have a Hive on the way. We have a Lunker Den on the way.
Oh, I'm getting ready to smooch. As Cure is not really set up for this. He's getting Marauders now, but he's switching hard into Widow Mines. He doesn't really have a lot of he doesn't have a Ghost Academy just yet, or a not a Cyber Core, you know, the Terran Cyber Core, Fusion Core for Lib Range.
Yeah, again, that's a big difference here, is that Solar, he's going to be looking to tech up into Lurker play. He went Lingbane, Hydra into that Lurker, and that's something that, again, Dark was avoiding in his series, so we'll see if Solar has a little bit more success. As you were saying, Cure isn't really set up to tech into an army that can deal with Lurkers efficiently.
It's just Marine, Marauder, and a couple of Widow Mines, which is a very powerful army. I just realized Solar's maxed out, so
yeah.
Both of our players pretty close to maxing out, to be fair, but yeah, Solar definitely wants to start trading very soon, and I'm not sure if Cure is ready for that.
I'm not sure either, as a couple of mine shots are going to be going off. Good mine connections there from Cure, but again, Solar, he just wants to buy some time to refine his army. He's got Vipers on the way, Lurker upgrades as well, 3/3 Adrenal Glands, so he's content to just wait a little bit longer until his upgrades do come into play. It's going to be on Cure to try to poke in and try to find some damage on the side of Solar.
So far, Solar's sitting very comfortably on 87 workers and 5 bases, about to be 6 bases. And this is kind of how Dark won his game against Cure earlier on, right? It's he just took enough bases to the point where he was able to start trading inefficiently each time. Nice Widow Mine connections, but Solar will be able to keep this going.
Yeah, exactly. He just pushes up this ramp as well. He focuses down another Widow Mine and is keeping the attention of Cure back at home. At the same time, we have that double drop. I know there are Queens and Banelings here in position as well. We do have the Banshees. Sorry, no, I thought they were Banshees, but no. The Medevac drop is headed towards that new would-be 6th base.
I'm so surprised the Banshees are still alive. What? From the start of this game till now.
Yeah, the Banshees are alive on the right-hand side of the map, but again, it looks like Solar has been keeping up with all this drop play. Cure hasn't been losing too much, but oh, the Vipers are here and they get the parasitic bombs.
Yeah, damn do you do, damn do you don't right now for Cure. He's gonna be losing both medevacs, one medevac. Pretty soon to be both medevacs, let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. One more power bomb is all that Solar needs. Meanwhile, the main push is still going to be threatening the 5th base. Do have a minefield set up as well. Solar wants to try and bait them out.
Ooh. But great retargeting coming out from Cure. We'll be able to get the bulk of those Banelings.
Yeah, as we do see Solar just maintaining control here of the center of the map. Cure taking his own base behind this, his own 5th, as he's going to be pushing his tanks on forward here. He is setting up quite well defensively, but again, Solar hasn't really been too concerned with breaking into any of those bases until now.
Yeah, he sees an opportunity and he is pouncing right on top of it. Going to be trading a little bit inefficiently, but this is more than fine here for Solar. SCVs couldn't make it out. Oh no. It's fine.
Once again, for the 2nd game in a row, the mineral line at the 3rd base does go down, so some nice damage being done here by Solar. Meanwhile, 3-3 is on the way. The Lurker upgrades are now done. The Vipers are out, and Solar is going to be refining his army. He's going to have a much more robust army looking for any kind of fight. And this third base is still looking a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah, it doesn't have a wall anymore, but it's also not mining, so.
And not back to mining yet. Solar does get eyes on the 6th base. The creep is being spread here. Oh, has to be careful though. There are a lot of tanks.
There are a lot of tanks with a couple of Widow Mines backing down up as well.
Exactly, as Solar is just engulfing the entire map in creep as we speak. We do have a Nidus here on the right-hand side. A little bit of a Lurker harass as well over on the left. Nothing too substantial, but again, it's just going to be annoying here as he does push through the middle.
Blinding Clouds will open up a path here as the tanks are completely nullified, but still a very efficient trade coming out here from Cure. Of course, at this stage of the game, it has to be said, Solar doesn't have to trade efficiently, he just has to trade. But he's going to be able to trade efficiently regardless, as these lunkers burrow themselves right on top of this third base mineral line. Cure wasn't mining from it still, surprisingly, but yeah, it's still pretty rough to have that happen.
I mean, thankfully Cure wasn't mining from it, otherwise he would have lost his entire mineral line and all those SCVs as well. As Solar is on 90 workers. With 90 workers, we have to trade. Again, that does mean that the overall army is going to be smaller for Solar, so he has to just keep rushing in with Lings, with Banes, with Hydras.
Yeah, he needs to make sure that Cure is never comfortable and never able to really max out with a fully powered army. Nice snipes here on these Vipers. There's only one remaining and it doesn't really have a lot of energy left on it.
Yeah,
but what about the Lurkers in the main?
Yeah, the Nidus finishes in the main base. 4 Lurkers do get in. We do have a lot of Ghosts available, though. They're going to be able to get the snipes off. Good fight overall by Cure. And the Ghosts have been revealed.
And the Ghosts have been revealed. Solar knows that it is... Solar knows that that is a unit that's available here for Cure. I love how Solar has, this entire game, just had a little bit of creep on top of this base location. Cure, he just wants to land it. Look at how much energy that orbital command has. He wants to land that base and start muling or scanning or something, but Cure, or Solar, sorry, he's just not letting him.
No, not at all, as the creep is finally receding here, and finally Cure can take that center base, but Solar's going to do everything he can to try and stop him. We do have more Lurkers being morphed in. We have Remax, he's coming in again.
Just as he lands the base, he's forced to lift it up. Aye. Very good trade here from Cure overall. A couple of ghosts went down by the looks of things, but yeah, the siege line is still maintained, and yeah, that wasn't a great trade over here from Solar. Solar, however, he's taking every other map in the game.
Yeah, every base is
or
now
in the map.
Is now Solar's.
Every other base in the map. I just realized what I said.
As we do have a couple more Niduses being thrown down left and right, we do see Cure's base being taken by Solar as well. And this is honestly pretty crucial. This is what we saw from Cell versus Oliveira last night, where it's so important for the Zerg players to take these fringe bases, to mine them as quickly as possible, and to just keep on trading and basically just take money away from the Terran.
Yeah, conventional wisdom usually says Terran can get away with turtling as long as they have 5 bases, but if they only have 5 bases and the Zerg opponent is able to take literally every other base on the map, and that's 5 isn't quite gonna cut it. And anyway, Cure's starting on 5 bases.
Not even, mate, not even. As a couple of these Zergers are going to be going down. Nice trades again overall from Cure, coming in with his Ghost at the same time on the right-hand side. He does shoo away the army of Solar, so he's getting a little bit of momentum going his way. The Banelings do have to be rebuilt, and Solar is still not quite mining from these bases, but he is taking the gold, actually.
Yeah. I guess he doesn't really need to mine from them just yet. He still has a healthy mineral line back at home, but yeah, as long as he's able to prevent Cure from taking that base, it's net positive. Solar going in for a bit of surround, and once again, Cure's trading very, very efficiently. But what do we always say? At this stage of the game, if you're the Zerg player, you don't have to trade efficiently. You just gotta trade.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what he's been doing. A mineral line goes down. Cure is trying to get top left, and honestly, this is pretty crucial. If he's somehow able to get this base up and running, then he will have the economy to sustain his army and to remax and rebuild. But there is creep here. There's a queen. There's a Nidus as well, and Cure can't get it up.
S for Cure, yeah. As he's very much running out of minerals here.
Yeah, exactly. Finally, he's going to be able to mine from the center base, and this is a pretty fresh base, to be fair. Like, he hasn't really touched it, so he's at least going to be able to get this up and running. But we do see a double drop here. Sorry, a drop as well on the left-hand side, clearing up the creep, clearing up these Niduses.
Yeah, or they want to clear out the Niduses. They're getting a little bit distracted by that queen, and that might be enough for Solo to establish a reinforcement point. Once again, this third base, triangular third base, is under assault. Every single SCV goes down. I'm surprised at how well Cure's been able to remake his SCVs, to be honest, but I believe he lost his base? Did he just lose his base?
Yeah, the CC was targeted down by the Hydras, so great stutter stepping from Solar. He did overextend a little bit, and he lost a lot of his Hydras to the snipes, but overall, he was able to punish that CC. At the same time, the Lurkers reposition once again. Have to be careful, they don't want to get sniped, and it looks like only one will be left behind.
I'm really liking Solo's use of the Nidus Worms here.
Yeah,
you know, theoretically, you're supposed to use Nidus Worms like this, in this way, but we rarely see it for some reason. Solo, though, he's doing it.
Yeah, he's just bouncing back and forth between all these Nidus Worms. We do see another massive blinding cloud on these tanks, but there's still so many behind this, regardless of Lings are going to be getting on top, and they're going to be able to trade here.
Well, there were a lot of tanks behind that, but those two tanks that were blinding clouded did get taken out, and Cure is running out of money. He has half the mineral income of Solar, and he barely has a bank.
Yeah, we can see
every little bit of damage here hurts Cure so much.
It really does. Oh, the full medevac goes down as well. We even do burrow a Ling underneath that third CC location. Nidus finishes, and the Lurkers do come out, and again, we are looking to deny any kind of mining. Lurkers are by themselves, though, so these ghosts are going to be able to take advantage of the situation, and they're even going to be able to lay siege upon the gold.
Hello there. See, more Lurkers get sniped. Cure not quite going to be able to jump on top of that, not when there's an Overseer available. More tanks go down, and Cure cannot replace them quickly enough.
He really cannot. The Banelings do run out. The Ghosts were out of position. They were dealing with the Lurkers on the left-hand side, and when they do arrive, that is when Solar backs off.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah,
As
Solar
takes the other gold base.
The other gold base is being taken, which kind of trickling on in. This is, we do have to consolidate our army here for Solar. He doesn't want to throw away his advantage as he's just continuing to deny base after base. And is this CC going to burn down?
I don't see any SCVs nearby. I don't think Cure wants to throw down a mule. Nidus Worm will be denied. The SCVs keep the base alive. Ooh, or will they? He's running out of minerals.
Thankfully, the SCVs do arrive in time to top up that CC. Meanwhile, we can see Cure for the first time going to be pushing out onto that, pushing onto creep. As he does so, though, we do have a Nidus in his main base.
Very risky maneuver here from Cure, but when you're this far behind, you have to take risks. Nidus pops up in the main base. Cure now sees it, and this is where all the production is. Only three, it's only 3 Lurkers, so.
Only 3 Lurkers, but these Lurkers can do a lot of damage. They can wreak a lot of havoc. Meanwhile, the top left-hand base is soon to be taken, but no, the Lings are here once again to deny it.
All these SCVs down just like that. That was pretty much Cure's lifeline in this game. The minerals that he has left is the extent of everything he's going to be able to have. That orbital command should burn down.
I mean, it looks like we're going to tap out anyway. GG gets called. The economy is no longer there. Cure taps out, and Solar ties up the series 1-1.
Oh boy, with 579 APM from Solar. That's a lot, even for a Zerg player.
GG. Well played.
Yeah, you can really see how How should I describe this? How much Solar really had to do there to to be able to take Cure out when he is in form like this. I'm sensing a little bit of pattern here, like in
Yeah.
Cure's TBZ. If it gets to the late game, he just loses all momentum and isn't quite able to turn things around.
That's the thing. Like Solar, he was able to really get control of the game in the mid game and, you know, take all of his bases, spread all of his creep. We saw him doing such a great job at splitting up his army, and even though we had like 4 different armies from Cure, he had double drops and the banshees all over the place, but he was still not finding too much damage. He was still having a hard time denying bases and denying creep spread. Solar, after surviving that stage of the game, he had full map control, he had all the momentum, he had the hive, and he was able to just pull Cure apart. It was difficult to get there, but he was able to, you know, again, survive the mid game against Cure.
Yeah, this is going to be much, much, much easier said than done. But at this point, I feel like if you're a Zerg player up against Cure, the plan is just survive. And again, much easier said than done. Cure is a very aggressive player, and he throws in a lot of unpredictable builds to gain an upper hand, like we saw his Hellbat Banshee opening against Dark. So it's much easier said than done, but yeah, from what we can see, it seems like he really does struggle a lot when you get to the late game.
Yeah, I mean, the dynamic does shift quite a bit, and we've seen Cure play around a little bit with the late game, right? Like the last time we saw it, before this series, Cure even was like going into mech on Gressfarm, which was kind of crazy to see.
Bio into mech.
Yeah, it's something you don't see too often. So, you know, Cure is still like, looking to try and find his footing there, and it can be quite difficult, especially with the constant Niduses, with the constant harassment as well, and the fact that Solo was even able to take in mind from some of Cure's bases.
I agree. As we dip on over to game number 3 here, our ace match, which is where we conclude this best of 3 series. As a reminder, the winner of this one map will be going on to face Kellizer in the semifinals. And over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea, representing Onsite Gaming, OSG. We have Solar.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Team Abydos. It is Cure. And that last game, Solar, he was emulating Serral a little bit. We have been lucky enough to cast Serral versus Oliveira multiple times over the past 2 weeks, and Serral has been just a masterclass of late game ZvT, just bouncing back and forth from end to end of the map with Niduses, just 9 bases and suffocating his opponent. The biggest difference, if I want to be a little bit critical about Solar, is that Serral, he is very quick to expand and saturate the fringe bases, the bases of the Terran opponent. Even takes priority of those bases over his own on his side of the map.
Yeah, that's why they call him the Serraltopus, if I'm not mistaken.
But they do call him that. They do call him that. But yeah, because of that, like,
tendrils.
Yeah, Serral has been looking so good in the matchup, and it looks like Solar is catching on to that style as well. Again, it didn't quite take advantage of mining from those bases as quickly as possible as Serral otherwise would, but regardless, Solar just had so much map control anyway, and his aggression was paying off where he didn't necessarily need to.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Solar was taking notes of Serral's games these past couple of weeks. Not only is he the #1 biggest Serral fanboy in Korea, but you know, he's also less stubborn, shall we say, compared to a lot of other Zerg players who are like, nope, I have my style, and sometimes I'll take inspiration from other players, but I just want to develop my own way of playing this game. So on the other hand is, you know, what are other people doing that, you know, I can maybe try to emulate in my own way?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting when you bring that up, because you're not wrong. When it comes to a lot of the other big name, even arguably successful Korean Zerg players in Korea, like Dark, Ragnarok, even Rogue. They were all like insanely aggressive, right? They're so aggressive. We see them go for all these timings, roach all-ins, even fast pool openers as well. Solar has been a lot more macro-oriented and receptive of the European scene. Yeah, that's kind of what makes him a little bit different from the rest. It makes him still unique in his own way, I guess, because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Even Sue back in the day when he was like, talking to all the EU Zerg players and whatnot, I'd be like, so what do you guys do? I'm trying to figure out how I should adjust my play. He's still stuck to that aggressive style very much. Solar is one of the arguably the Korean Zerg player who is most focused on macro since Nesty.
I don't know if I would go that far, but yeah. He is quite focused on that macro, much more so than many others, and we'll see if he can get there once again, as Cure is looking to be a little bit aggressive with his initial units, just going to be forcing a little bit of drones being pulled here at the third base. Behind this, we do see a third CC before starport. Once again, same opener basically every game here from Cure.
Yeah, not a 3cc before starport 2-on-1 coming out here. It is just a straight up 3cc before starport.
Yep, and then we go, the CC is being taken as we speak. We see the Banshees on the way as well, and we aren't seeing any kind of crazy early Hellion Marine move out or anything like that like we saw previously today. Like, again, things are looking a little more straight up. Likewise, Solar also gets his lair at a reasonable time, and once we get like halfway through that lair, we should be seeing the Bailey Nest soon after.
Yeah, very, very soon after. So, yeah, I'm looking at Cure's production, and he is not going for that mass Hellbat style that we saw earlier on. Instead, it is going to be more of a Marine-focused army composition coming out from him.
Yeah, meanwhile, we do have something very interesting out of Solar, because even though he does throw down that Bailey Nest at a reasonable hour, and this was a 4-minute 30 lair, he takes every single gas geyser, so this is looking like Muta play.
That is what it's looking like. We're just waiting for that lair to finish up. It can't be Swarm Host, right? I mean, Zerg players have been doing Swarm Host only in ZvP. You can't do that in ZvT, can you? Apparently you can't, as the Spire does get thrown down.
Well, yo, Cham has something to say to you, Yaku. But
it's not
yeah.
to me he should be talking to, it's Solar.
But there we go, the Spire's thrown down, and no, the Banshees, they dip in. Immediately they scout the Spire as it does start.
And Cure isn't prepared for this just yet, but it shouldn't take too many adjustments for him to prepare against Mutalisk. Actually, did he click on the Spire?
I'm not too sure if he did, but because he saw it so early on, like, he has plenty of time to react. Like, he can delay his turrets a little bit here. The Spire isn't even done at this point, and Cure, you know, at least his units did confirm it. Hopefully he confirmed it as well. Hopefully he doesn't think that it's like a spore or something like that, because the Spire does look quite small when it first starts being built.
Yeah, Spore's a bit of a grower in that regard. Yeah, I wonder if... Because I know there are a few Terran players who say, yeah, even if it's Lingbane Muta, it's still better to get tanks anyway, because tanks are more reliable and they form a bit of a better anchor point, as long as you have some Marines in position to guard them. But yeah, I wonder if Cure is one of those, and he decides, yeah, I don't need to switch into Widow Mines just yet. Or if he decides to just... or if it is a case of, like you were saying, he just assumed that it was a Spore Crawler, and he's not actually aware of the Spire.
I mean, we do have turrets being thrown down, thankfully. We do have turrets here at the third base, and we should be seeing some of the natural as well, so he's fully aware of what's going on. He will be prepared for it. Meanwhile, here's that 7-minute tank push. The armory just finished up, so he can morph in those Hellbats. There we go. And he's looking to power on through here again. This is the build that did kill Solar in Game 1.
Yeah, Solar in Game 1 and Dark in Game 1 as well. Of course, those realists put a little bit of a wrench in these plans. Hellbats aren't really going to be able to guard these tanks against flying units, but yeah, Cure, he decides, I'll just play this out a little bit more cautious. I won't be as aggressive with my Marines, and I should be able to still keep you contained for the time being.
Yeah, but this is dangerous because, again, the mutas, they can't really engage with this army because of how many Marines there are. We invested quite a lot of gas into it. The mutas, they have to try to pick up some reinforcements or something, as Solar is going to be losing this hatchery.
Yeah, oh. One Baneling does connect, which is more than I expected, but yeah, there was enough army here for Cure defend. Solar now going for a massive counter harass. And there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential, but the Lings are trapped. They have to try to break through these deepers, and there we go. The Lings are going to be able to get the hell out of here. We were able to catch some reinforcements, but not too many, as Cure's push is still looking quite terrifying.
Yeah, he's still in position. Losing that base already hurts the production so much here. It's not just the mining that Solar has to worry about. It's also the fact that he doesn't have as much larva to work with as Cure is breathing down his neck.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? These mutas, they catch a couple more reinforcements. We do have a 4th CC behind this. The mutas, oh, but they run into Marines back at home. Cure has been so disciplined about keeping reinforcements back at home, expecting these counterattacks.
It is so very tempting to just try to parade push after the first hatchery goes down, and you're thinking, yes, I have momentum. But Cure, like you said, he's so disciplined. He is so cautious. He knows that the biggest way Solar can turn this around is to go for a massive counter harass, and Cure's just making sure that he'll never be able to succeed in that regard.
Exactly, as Solar's army just hasn't really been able to do too much, or at least the mutas haven't been able to do too much. They've been able to catch a couple of Marines here and there, a Banshee here and there as well, but Cure, he rotates over towards the bottom left, looking to deny the base.
And the army of Solar is completely disconnected from that base. The Mutalisks go across the map, though, and they are able to catch a tank. Not bad, but yeah, once again, Cure does have his reinforcements in position. That was a cancel, thankfully. Wait. Okay. Solar made a Dropper Lord?
Apparently so, but that was a cancel in the end. We do see Cure pushing on forward. He did lose one tank, which will take a lot of the power away from this push. So a nice pickup there from Solar. He tries to push on forward. Will lose a queen to the tank fire.
Yes, Cure is where he wants to be right now, which is encroaching onto Solar. He even cuts off, he even destroys those rocks just to make sure that Solar won't be able to go for a full on surround, or if he wants to, he has to go the long way around or try to take out those rocks. Neither option is viable right now for Solar.
Yeah, and because that Solar may just have to give up on this base as well, he's going for a bit of a counterattack instead. We do see the 4th CC being built. 2-2 just kicked in for Cure.
Yeah, and he is maxed out with the majority of his army over here. Solar decides to go for the long surround anyway, instead of going for that counter harass. This is very ballsy coming out from Solar, but it is working, surprisingly.
Yeah, there we go. The Lingbane does crash on in, completely surrounds the entire army, and Cure, he loses everything. And that was everything that he's been working up towards. We do see another army on the right-hand side looking to try and deny one of these bases, but Solar has the momentum.
And he is keeping his foot straight on the gas. There's one tank back at home here for Cure. He is remaking them, and he will have reinforcements to deal with the Lingbane as his double drop. Actually, that's a lot more infantry than just a typical double drop, as we can see. Does look for other paths of attack here.
Yeah, he gets the entire mineral line. 14 drones go down and the 3rd base, but at the same time, the army gets cleaned up. Solar was in position. He's able to deny the 3rd base as well. Cure's economy is still looking quite good. If you look at the worker count, he's actually ahead of Solar right now, but Solar has a larger army and he has to make use of it.
He really does, especially since it is Lingbane Muta, and they don't, I was going to say they don't scale too well to the late game, but that is true. Rather, it's more of a case of the Terran player is going to be working on units that are direct counters to that.
Exactly, and these mutas are still looking for some more damage. At least this time, Cure is stuck back at home. The mutas, they dip into the main base. The production is looking quite vulnerable, and he's going to be able to dive on top of some of these add-ons.
Yeah, Thor now pops out, though, and in the end, one tech lab goes down.
Only one tech left, but at least again it keeps Cure back at home. We do see him taking a would-be fifth base here in that orbital. Meanwhile, Solar, he's just refining his own army, finally settling on back at home, trying to re-drone and resaturate his bases.
Yeah, the Ultralisk Cavern just finished up here from Solar, and so he is producing as many Ultras as he can afford, which is 2 at the moment.
Yeah, again, Solar, he just doesn't have the best economy because he lost so many workers earlier because they've been losing bases, and he's still only at 75 drones. He's still working his way back into 80.
Slowly but surely. It is about the late game, the drone count that you want in the late game here. I know some Zerg players like to go up to 90, and as a Terran player who over-relies on mules, that is bonkers to me. Why would you make more than 45? Like,
yeah,
come on.
More than 45. You're crazy, Papi. Oh my god. As the mutas are finding some damage across the map. The other really scary thing for Solar, as we can see here, is the lack of creep spread. Because Cure was so aggressive and so active earlier, he was doing such a great job at denying so much map presence from Solar, and now he's barely connecting his bases.
Yeah, that's a huge difference between this game and game number 2. The Ultralists reveal themselves, but they don't have chitinous plating just yet. Marauders can try to fight this, and Solar's going to try to prevent Marauders from fighting these Ultras before they're ready. Mutas dip into that third base, take out the turret, and take out a couple of SCVs, but there was a reinforcing Thor there to prevent that from going on. There are so many Marauders here!
Yeah, because there are so many Marauders, what can the Banelings really do? What can the Ultras really do in this position? They're going to try and roll on forward here, but again, Banelings on Marauders is not something you want to be seeing. Meanwhile, 14 SCVs go down across the map. The Mutas did a lot of damage, but what about the main army? Cure's pushing through.
Yeah, the Mutas have definitely paid for themselves, and you know what? Marauders can't shoot up, so maybe that's a way to utilize these Mutalists, but look at how many Marines there still are. There was a Thor in position. Ooh, a little bit of an awkward trade here from Cure. Overstaying his welcome a little bit.
Yeah, and here we go. The Banelings, they've rolled on forward. The Mutas have arrived as well, but the Thor gets here just in time, does chunk away at those Mutas.
Marines are going to kill, okay, just one Ultra for the time being. I was assuming that Cure, you know, was parade pushing across the map, but look at the army supply. It's actually surprisingly even.
Yeah, the Mutas across the map, remember, they did kill a mineral line, and that mineral line has not been replaced. It has not been replenished, so Cure, his economy is not looking too good. On top of that, he doesn't have Ghost. He's relying on Marine, Thor, Widowmine, Marauder as well. He's just avoiding the Ghost Academy entirely.
Yeah, the Thor will get picked up and will be evacuated. I spoke too soon, as the medevac carrying it does go down. Cure definitely overstayed his welcome, overextended just a little bit, and is forced to retreat. I like the Liberators that are now getting into position. Decent Widowmine hits, but they were on Ultralisk, unfortunately.
Exactly, and all those Marauders that we saw earlier, they're gone, and they haven't been rebuilt. We have mainly Marines now. We only have 3 Marauders left, and that's not going to be enough.
Cure is being so ballsy with these Marauders. He's stimming them very, very much and moving them so far forward, away from any kind of support. A bit of a Ling run by will distract Cure enough for Solar to bust on through.
Yeah, exactly. Does break the contain in the end. We do have a couple more Widowmine shots that are going to be going off, and they do connect with those Banelings, but these Marines are heavily overstimmed.
Very heavily overstimmed, and there's only one medevac here to support them. Cure has not been able to get a 5th base up until now, and he's bleeding out so much because of it.
Really is, and the greed here, this is an orbital, not a planetary, so it is going to be that much more vulnerable as well. The Muta Cloud is still looking quite powerful as well. It is going to be able to get a couple more of these SCVs. Does take a mine shot to the face, but again, Solar can remax, Cure cannot.
Yeah, just look at that supply difference. Oh lordy.
I mean, look at the worker difference. I mean, again, Cure, he hasn't been making workers. He hasn't been making SCVs. He's just been making nothing but army, hoping to eventually break the back of Solar, and it's happened before, but this time Solar is holding on.
Yeah, Cure seems a little bit tunnel visioned going into this.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't blame him, right? Like, that's how he killed Solar in Game 1, you know? That's how he killed Dark as well. But alas, because we were able to tech up into Ultras, because we were able to tech up into Hive, into 3-3 as well, over time, Solar was just holding better and better. And now, once again, we have another Ling run by, and we're breaking our fresh mining bases.
Just like so. Ultralists are getting on top of just about everything right now. The Marauder count goes down, and the Ultras still survive. There are also plenty of Mutalisks here to clean up, and more importantly, you know, Cure can always remax. Or Solar, sorry, can always remax, and he is remaxing right now with Lings and Banes. That's all he needs. He has one Infestor.
He's got the Infestor for the Fungal if he ever does need it. The Marauders are going to be going down. The Marines are sidestepping their hearts out right now, just trading as efficiently as they can. But honestly, Cure, he is on his last legs. He is on his last army.
Control is out of this world, but he just doesn't have the numbers on his side. Best he can hope for right now is for Solar to overextend a little bit too much. GG is called, and Solar pulls off the upset, is able to take out Cure, who looked absolutely terrifying. GG, very well played from our on-side gaming Zerg player. Holy hell. So, holy hell.
GG, well played. Congratulations as Solar takes down Cure. Cure was on fire tonight. He took down so many big names. He took down Beyond, he took down Dark, took down TY as well, but Solar does stop him in his tracks. It was a tough one though. Like, that was looking pretty damn close. Cure was in his face, but Solar eventually got the surround he needed. Had to be very patient for it though, because it took a while for him to finally get that big engage. But after he was able to surround that army and kill the army of Cure that one time, he had all the momentum in the world and had all the freedom as well to just calm himself down.
Yeah, Solar understood his win condition very, very much. That's why he is the brain of Zerg players in Korea. We call him the brightest pro gamer for a reason. After game number 1, he was very, very quick to adapt his style, his unit composition, and his overall strategy going into this, and it paid off big time. I think any other Zerg player would have pulled the trigger a little bit too soon, would have tried to overwhelm Cure, and that's why Cure has been able to win so many TVZs recently. But Solar knew he just had to wait until the very correct moment, and that was that. He even neutralized the Hellbat positioning with those tanks by just having those Realists out. He may not have taken out the Hellbats entirely, but it did cause Cure to delay his push just long enough for him to get ready to get his army in position.
Oh, exactly, and with that patience, with that, Solar moves on to the semifinals. I would also ask you, Yaku, to come on over to the land of the Americas, because we are going to be covering the upper semifinals first. We're nearing the end of the broadcast. We have 3 matches remaining. We have the upper semis, the lower semis, and the grand finals. And our next series is going to be a very spicy PvP.
Indeed it is. This is going to be a very spicy PvP, and it's going to be one that answers the question. I mean, you could argue that it's not as definitive as it should be, but for the longest time, Hero was the undisputed #1 Protoss player in the world. But ever since the start of 2023, MaxPax has been on fire and has been putting that claim to a lot of contention. And now we're finally going to be able to see them face off here in a best of 3. Unfortunately, I would have loved to see a best of 5 or even a best of 7 between these two players, but here we are now in MaxPax versus Hero.